As football season looms closer to the playoff push, Saturdays and Sundays are heating up, along with tempers of friends and family. And can you blame them? They haven't seen you in months. Luckily, it's never too late to make it up to them with 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, when you order 24 autumn roses for only $29.99, 1-800-Flowers will give you an extra half dozen roses plus a vase absolutely free. That's up to 40% off the original price. This beautiful arrangement of fall, red, orange, and yellow roses will leave her stunned and you without spending a fortune. It's the best of both worlds. Amazing roses at an unbeatable price. These gorgeous roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 12 autumn roses for $29.99 plus another half dozen roses and a vase for free. It's an incredible deal, but you have to jump on it now. There's 1-800-Flowers.com, and then there's everybody else. You know who I trust and depend on for life's most important moments. To order 12 autumn roses for $29.99 plus another half dozen roses and a vase for free, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/Mike. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/Mike.
Considering home security? Consider this. For 140 years, ADT has helped stop more crime than any other home security company. The yard sign isn't just a sign, it's a line in the sand. It's no wonder 5 times more people choose ADT to protect their homes. Visit ADT.com to learn more. For license information and terms and conditions, visit ADT.com.
I mean,
I feel bad about that.
I do as well, because if you got to listen to it, he was just searching for something.
Yeah, he wasn't. That was an honest mistake that anyone could make.
Absolutely,
he was just trying to say we just need to go on.
But boy, he went Celine Dion on us.
He tried to come up with something that goes on. And unfortunately, he hit the most famous ship ever that sunk.
That ship didn't go on.
That didn't work out exactly as I think he intended it.
Heart goes on.
Yeah, well, of course, because it's the worst song ever written. I hate this song. I hate this song.
You are clueless as to it. She has a voice of an angel.
She has a fine voice. I cannot stand this song.
Why?
And as I've said many times, I find Celine Dion a tad schmaltzy for my taste.
I don't care what kind of their personality is. I just listen to their voice, and she has a lovely voice.
A little too much schmaltz. No. That's nothing to do with her personality. Her
her
vocal presentation is very schmaltzy. I'll work on that word with you a little bit later. Mike and Mike, Booger McFarland will join us coming up shortly. Did I mention that we're presented by Progressive Insurance and that he'll be on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line? And if not, I should have. Joe M. tweets at us, last I checked, Eli doesn't play defense. His legacy will be hurt due to McAdoo's CYA moves. Listen, I don't think that Ben McAdoo can do anything. I think he may be doing the right thing for the organization to get a look at Davis Webb as we get close to the end of this season, because they really probably need to make a decision on whether or not he's got some chance of being their quarterback, or if they're going to draft someone like Josh Rosen or Josh Allen or Mason Rudolph or Baker Mayfield or whomever else. But I will be stunned if Ben McAdoo is the coach of the Giants next year.
I would as well. The bigger question to me is Eli Manning going to be the quarterback? And a guy who has so many, again, 2 more starts, and he passes his brother for consecutive starts. It's just hard to believe that at some point this season, would you actually just sit him down, not because of injury or anything, just to look at a different quarterback? That would be really, really odd.
Shane tweets at us, nobody listened when I begged for the Jaguars to acquire Tony Romo last spring. How good would they be now if they had?
Nobody. What are you, the GM? I mean, we don't even know if Tony Romo would be standing if he were the quarterback for Jacksonville. I mean, I can't buy into that at all. It's very easy to say when he's not on the field taking a snap, getting hurt, which is something he's done as of late. So I don't buy into that at all.
The reason I understand the tweet is when it became clear he wasn't going to go back to Dallas, there was speculation, would he go to the Jets? Would he go to these places? And I kept saying, well, why would he go someplace if they're not on the verge of winning? And I don't think we looked at Jacksonville
no, we did not.
as that. But now, I mean, I think to Shane's point in the tweet, if they had a veteran, experienced quarterback that you felt good about. Now, again,
Romo's a bad example.
Significantly injury-prone or had the back problems at the end. But if they had him and he was healthy,
I think
they're going to win the division.
That's
anyway.
a monstrous if. I would have picked a different veteran type quarterback, one who isn't.
For example, Jay Cutler. Would they be better with Cutler than they are now? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I don't know who else was available at the time when we were talking about this.
Colin Kaepernick is the name that will jump to everyone's mind. Forget about it. With Tom Coughlin, there's just no way. So I
listen. I was not laying my future on a Tony Romo line. I just wasn't. I just couldn't trust the fact that he was going to hold up.
All right, we'll do football, college, and pro with Booger McFarland, who joins us here now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line from his palatial estate in Tampa, Florida. Good morning, Booger McFarland.
Top of the morning, guys. What's going on?
I don't know why that makes me laugh. He's sitting, for those of you listening on the radio, he's on Skype. He's sitting just sitting back in a chair. How would you describe the look here, Golick?
At first, when I saw him, I thought he had a Florida shirt on. I thought he was didn't know what was going on.
No, this is just an Adidas golf shirt. I wouldn't put a Florida shirt on. That thing's a dumpster fire up there in Gainesville right now.
Oh, and there we go, ladies and gentlemen.
And you know that we're the only thing standing between him and the first tee right now. So let's get to some football conversation here. Let's start with some pro stuff, because you were texting me yesterday some thoughts on some similarities you see between the Buccaneers and the Giants.
Yeah, Greeny, it's amazing. Last year we were always talking about how head coaches get their jobs. Some are defensive coordinators, some are offensive coordinators. When you look at the Giants and the Buccaneers, they chose the offensive coordinator in McAdoo and Dirk Cutter. And boy, have those situations backfired, especially in Tampa. And to me, Greeny, Tampa Bay looks like a team that's no longer playing for their head coach. The discipline issues, when you see guys just all out, just going and just blatantly hitting a guy in the back of the head, and your quarterback, who's supposed to be the franchise, he's instigating the fight. And then you start to hear some of the rumblings that the head coach is just in over his head. I think there's something to the fact that the two offensive coordinators that got the head coaching jobs, their teams are struggling. Because I believe that success leaves clues. I also believe that failure leaves clues also. And I think if you look at how they're playing in New York and you look at how they're playing in Tampa, we may have a situation where two guys were offensive coordinators, but they weren't made out to be CEOs and head coaches. And to me, that's a glaring issue for each organization.
Coaches come and go. Franchise quarterbacks are supposed to stay there for a while. Where are you with Jameis Winston in those light?
I think Jameis Winston is going to be a franchise quarterback, goalie, but for me, he's got to grow up. Like the pregame speeches and get everybody hyped, I get it. Drew Brees does it in Tampa. It's something that every player does individually. But yesterday almost seemed like Jameis took it to a level that I've never seen before. And to me, if I'm the Glazer family, if I'm the head coach of this team, I'm telling my star quarterback, I want you pumped up. I want you hyped. But I want you also to be a leader. And yesterday, you almost made a mockery of being a leader with the licking your fingers and I want to eat a W. To me, he went a little bit too far. He's not playing very well, and you can attribute that to him and also the head coach, who's an offensive guru. So I think Jameis has to grow up a lot, and he has to start by how he prepares early in the week. More importantly, how he shows his teammates on game day. Because if Jameis Winston, your franchise quarterback, is going to instigate fights and he's going to start ruckus is on the field, then you're giving a path for everybody on that field, all of your teammates to do the same. So they have to get Jameis under control. You can't have your franchise quarterback. Excuse me. I've never seen Tom Brady. I've never seen Drew Brees do that. Excuse me.
Booger, are you all right?
I think he either is emotional. He's either emotional about what he's talked about, or he just had one of those chips that we're going to eat on Thursday.
That was a very Terrell Owens kind of moment there that you sounded like
you know what?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, there was something in my throat, and I was channeling my TO there.
Yeah.
That's my quarterback.
Yeah, I think you fought through it great.
You did.
Okay,
yeah,
Mike,
I tried to.
Hey, we couldn't tell.
No. It was. Okay.
Hey, Goalie, Greeny would have stopped the interview at that point and said, you know what, I can no longer go on.
He would have thrown the break.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Run a commercial. Okay, let's get back to this, though, because if you're talking about Jameis, let's spin it forward then also, because you got Winston and you got Mariota in that draft, and people were talking about that being the two franchise cornerstones. And now you fast forward to the following year, and you had Jared Goff and you had Carson Wentz, who people had significant questions about coming in. Neither one of them felt anywhere near to be the surefire guys that the previous two did. And then throw in Dak Prescott, who most people thought, like a lot of people thought, wasn't an NFL quarterback, and the whole league passed on him repeatedly. And all of a sudden, that class seems to be greatly outplaying the previous group. And you look particularly at Goff, the way he played yesterday, and Wentz, they're really coming into their own.
No doubt, Greeny. And to me, everyone was so fast to throw Jared Goff away. Remember Hard Knocks? He couldn't even get a play out, and we were like, man, this kid's a bust. I think it's a lesson for us in life. Don't always jump to conclusions. Sometimes when you give a kid a little time, a little TLC, more importantly, when you get the right coach, there's an offensive coach there in McVay who understands how to bring a young quarterback along. He understands how to get a young quarterback going. And Carson Wentz is probably the MVP of the league right now. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to tell you this, and people are going to laugh, and people will say I'm crazy. If you gave me a choice out of all those quarterbacks, I'd still take Dak Prescott, because if you watch Dak Prescott play and how the offense is running, he's making plays, guys, and he's doing things that I don't think other quarterbacks can do with the improvisational plays, the way he's scrambling, his physical ability to run the football. I know Carson Wentz is right there. My preference would still be Dak Prescott, though.
Thing about it is, I mean, basically splitting hairs with all three of them right now, and that's a testament to those three guys, especially Goff coming off of that rookie year. So those are three young guys that everybody's counting on for the future. And as I just mentioned earlier, coaches come and go, and we think the coach could be going in New York as well with McAdoo. What do you do with Eli? You just heard McAdoo say he's maybe start looking at other players, and the quarterback position is included. Is that something you think about a few weeks down the road, actually getting a look at like a Davis Webb, the rookie from Cal, or is Eli untouchable to you?
To me, Eli's untouchable. Eli's in the class, guys, with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and those guys. He's a two-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, and he's handled everything in New York City like the great professional that you would expect the Manning family would be. And to me, this is ludicrous talking about benching Eli unless you're saying Eli is not your quarterback next year. Now, if you've made that decision to say that we're moving on from Eli, then okay, yeah, you give Davis Webb, you give some of these other guys a shot. But unless you've made that decision, you put Eli in the starting lineup. He's earned the right by doing what he's done in the city of New York and how he's handled his business. He's earned the right to go out there with his teammates every Sunday and play. And more importantly, Golick, what message are you sending to your team if you take Eli Manning out? What message are you sending to the left guard and Snacks Harrison and those guys to say, you know what? Yeah, we're going to experiment right now. So do you want me to experiment with my technique as a defensive lineman? I thought the object of this is to go out and try to win every game. And when you start putting young guys in there, basically what you're telling me is that's no longer the object, and I just can't do that.
Mike and Mike Booger McFarland with us here. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. Let's get to some college, which was interesting. Right now, outside of Wisconsin, the longest winning streak of any team in the Big Ten Conference belongs to the Northwestern Wildcats, who have won 4 straight, 3 of them in overtime. I mentioned that, A, self-servingly, and B, also because the conference big boys may very well this past weekend have played themselves out of contention for the college football playoff. Is Wisconsin now the only hope the Big Ten has to get into the Final Four, Booger McFarland?
Well, Green, I think it's their best hope. I don't know if it's their only hope. To me, the Big Ten is in a very, very tough situation because with the events that happened this weekend, they're basically guaranteed that Wisconsin, even if they finish undefeated, they're going to face a 2-loss team from the Eastern Division, the Eastern side of the Big Ten, in Indianapolis in the Big Ten championship game. And if that's the case, guys, I'm going to tell you, Wisconsin, if they face a 2-loss Michigan State team, who controls their own fate, by the way, or a 2-loss Ohio State team, so now you put them against Wisconsin that's undefeated. I'll say this, and everybody's going to disagree and call me crazy. Wisconsin could do that, be 13-0, and not guaranteed a spot in the college football playoff. Because, Greeny, if you go back and look at the 3 years that the college football playoff has been in existence, the 12 teams that have made the college football playoff, they've averaged 4 top 25 wins on their way to the college football playoff. You know how many Wisconsin has right now, Greeny?
Right, 0. Yeah.
They have 0. So they can be undefeated and still not make it to the college football playoff. And I know Golick, his head is about to explode, but it's a real possibility, guys.
No, listen, it seems so odd to say a Power 5 can be undefeated, but listen, we've seen that committee, not bring in conference champs, not worry about head-to-head. You just don't know where they're going to be each year and what their criteria is going to be. You saw in the first rankings last week, they did take into play conference or head-to-head with Oklahoma being ahead of Ohio State. So let's go to the Big 12. Is the winner of Oklahoma TCU, do they still or have the legitimate shot to be in, or is it only Oklahoma, even though TCU was number 8 in the initial rankings? Is winner still in this?
I think Oklahoma and TCU still have a viable shot to get to the college football playoff because if you look at Oklahoma, they have that signature win against Ohio State in Norman. They've beaten Oklahoma State. If they beat TCU, they could possibly beat TCU or Oklahoma State again in the Big 12 championship game and with that all-important 13th data point. So I think Oklahoma clearly has everything in front of them, especially where they're ranked right now. And if you're TCU, you only have one loss. It's to Iowa State, who's playing very well. And if you go into Norman, you beat Oklahoma, and you might get Oklahoma, you might get Oklahoma State again in the Big 12 championship game. So I think both teams, to me, this game this Saturday in Norman, I'm not going to say it's kind of a play-in game, but the winner of that game still has everything in front of them. And the loser of that game this weekend, their college football playoff hopes go by the wayside.
And, of course, with the way that game played out this weekend, it did great things for the Heisman hopes of Baker Mayfield. But yes. I just want to hear the two of you guys, as defensive players, talk about what you saw in that game. Because, Booger, even I like a high-scoring game. I mean, I don't mind a little bit of a track meet. But even I, at some point, was like,
I can't stand it.
Is there any defense at all?
I mean, this is a Power 5 conference. These are Division I players. To not be able to get or defensive players or play defense well enough to stop 100-point games, to me, is embarrassing. I don't know any other word, Booger, than that. It's just – there's no way you can sit there and say, well, it's just because of such of the offensive firepower out there. These are some of the best players in the country when they're coming out of high school, and they're going to this conference where they don't play defense. To me, it is absolutely embarrassing.
You know, Golick, I completely agree with you. It's absolutely terrible defense, and it's the fundamentals. I'll give you a prime example. If you look at, there was a play where Justice Hill, the running back for Oklahoma State, he burst a long run. And there were two Oklahoma defenders. Well, defense tells me the outside got it. The same play we're showing right there. The cornerback is supposed to come up on the outside, turn the ball carrier back to his help, which is the safety coming down the middle. What does the cornerback do? Cornerback goes inside, running back comes outside. And so to me, we can talk about how bad the Big 12 defenses are, which they absolutely are. But I have to go to the coaching, because I wonder if the Big 12 defensive coaches are coaching their guys in fundamentals, or do the head coaches, the Lincoln Rileys, the Mike Gundys, everyone, Matt Campbell, do they say, you know what, we're just going to buy into the aura of this league, and we're just going to try to outscore everybody. Now, with that being said, guys, I'm taking nothing away from Baker Mayfield. He was outstanding, and as much as we gave love to Saquon Barkley, like Greeny and I were ready to hand the Heisman out about 3 weeks ago, Greeny, and guess what, Greeny, I was with you. Mm-hmm. But right now, Greeny, Saquon Barkley, with no undoing of his own, I put a lot of responsibility on James Franklin in the play calling, but I think he's played his way kind of into second or third place on the Heisman right now. To me, my Heisman list would go Baker Mayfield number 1. It would go Josh Adams number 2 and Saquon Barkley number 3 based on where we are. Because Saquon Barkley's last 3 weeks have not been really good. Even though he had the long kickoff return against Ohio State, he's not running the football well, which is what we expect him to do.
One guy who can certainly shine on the big stage, and that's what Baker Mayfield did, could be Josh Adams. As Notre Dame goes down to Miami, game day will be there. And what a chance for both these teams. Obviously, Notre Dame needs to win out to have to be in this thing. And if Miami goes undefeated, beating Notre Dame and then beating probably Clemson in the ACC title game, they're going to be in. So, man, it's good. These two teams, we know the history, certainly with the Catholics versus convicts years ago, and just the bad blood at times, to get this thing going again, Booger.
No doubt. And you know what, Golick? I grew up watching Michael Stonebreaker and Chris Zorich and Ray Lewis. Like, I grew up watching this rivalry. I tell anybody, I wanted to go to Miami. Miami didn't recruit me. They said I was too small to play defensive line. And, I went to LSU, and the rest is history. But just the history of the program, the history of this rivalry, I can't wait to watch it, because the perception around the country is you had the good guys in Notre Dame and Golick against the bad guys in Miami and Warren Sapp and Ray Lewis. And to me, it made America choose sides. It made America pick, do you want to be a good guy or do you want to be a bad guy? Now, I know I'm not calling Miami convicts, but that's the theme that you're going to hear all week long. It's going to be the Catholics versus the convicts. And the key to this game is going to come down to the line of scrimmage, Golick, because Notre Dame is going to come off the bus running the football with Josh Adams. Miami has a smaller, athletic defensive line. Their front seven is ferocious. Can Miami's front seven do what they did against Virginia Tech? Stop the run, slow down the mobile quarterback. If they can do that, they'll have a good shot. Miami wins this game. Miami most likely is going to play Clemson in Charlotte in the ACC title game with a winner getting into the college football playoff scenario. Notre Dame wins this game. Notre Dame they're almost assured of running the table. This is really Notre Dame's last big test, in my opinion. You beat Miami, in my opinion, an 11-1 Notre Dame team can book their ticket to the college football playoff. So this is almost I'm not going to say it's a play-in game, but it's a playoff eliminator because the loser, in my opinion, doesn't really have a chance, but the winner has everything in front of them.
Man, they really do. It's gonna. I'm so happy that this is center stage.
It's the best thing about the sport,
and
again, it's why everyone who wants to expand the playoff, do it at your own risk, because what you lose is this: you lose the fact that on Saturday night, November, what is this going to be, the 11th? You're getting a championship caliber game, and that is the best thing about college football. Booger McFarland, well done. I'm glad that whatever your little incident there was, it didn't take a real toll on you, and we will see you later in the week.
Greeny. Listen, Greeny, I was battling. I channeled my inner Mike Golick instead of my inner Mike Greenberg, and I fought through it.
Well done.
Good man.
Thank you, Booger.
Thanks, Booger.
Booger McFarland with us. He'll be on the first tee in about 9 minutes down there in Tampa someplace. It is great. And the more that it has come up, the more we're getting reaction in the Twitter that people want you to make a bet with Stugotz and with Lebitard. Now, Stugotz didn't go to the U, did he?
No, he didn't.
Lebitard did, though.
Dan did. I remember Dan in the 30 for 30 of the Catholics versus convicts, and I'd like to talk to acted all hurt that they were considered, the convicts, and he was hurt. I mean, come on, just stop it. I mean, the reputation of the guys down there. Not all of them were. Listen, not all of them are. I get that. I understand that. But let's just say the reputation was down there. Some of it was earned, Dan. You have to admit that. And not to say that everybody at Notre Dame was a choir boy either. I get that. But I felt like Dan was a little too much the other way on that one. So, maybe Dan and I will have to throw it on a little bit.
I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't mean to start that.
But I
just said he went to one school, you went to the other school. Why don't we have a bet here?
I'll start it.
The last time Northwestern played Notre Dame, we made a bet, you and I. Remember what happened?
Yeah, there's a bobblehead behind there that I'm oiled up and naked.
Your greased up naked butt was all over America.
There you go. Yeah.
And that's just what America needed.
Home isn't just a place. It's a feeling that you're safe to enjoy the things that matter most. ADT lets you take that feeling with you. Whether you're at home, your business, or online, we help keep you safe. With security systems, home automation, alarms, and surveillance. So you can feel at home wherever you are. Go to ADT.com to get that feeling for less than $1 a day. ADT. Home. Safe home.
Hey everyone, Mike Golick here. Support for Mike and Mike podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
I don't understand this. So I was just sent this, and I don't want to sidetrack the conversation because this really isn't today's discussion. We should be talking about the games that took place over the weekend, the Saturday college games, the Sunday
and yet we're going to sidetrack
NFL games. Well, no, I just asked the question. So we were just saying, did the Big Ten potentially play itself out this weekend with the losses by Penn State and Ohio State? Because it felt like one of those two teams with one loss could have gotten into that Big Ten championship game. Mm-hmm. And then if Wisconsin had beaten them, Wisconsin would have had a really good win to build on. And if one of those teams had beaten Wisconsin, let's say had done it handily, maybe they would have that would have carried the day, and one of those two teams, Ohio State or Penn State, as a Big Ten champ, could have gotten in. Now both those teams have two losses. Right. Michigan has two losses.
Wisconsin's going to be the highest ranked Big Ten team.
Michigan State has controls their destiny on their side of the bracket, and they're all on one side. So I just asked the guys, Michigan State plays Ohio State. Mm-hmm. If Ohio State wins that game, and then Michigan beats Ohio State, where does it all wind up? Like, who winds up coming out of that mix to play Penn State?
I don't know.
Well, I don't either. And so they sent me the tiebreakers, and that only makes it more confusing. Like, here's the first note in the tiebreaker amongst three teams. Mm-hmm. Are you ready for this? Tell me what this means. In the event that three teams are tied, number one, the records of the three tied teams will be compared against each other. Well, what the hell does that mean? If they're tied, by definition, don't they have the same record?
Well, it might be strength of schedule. I don't know.
The next is the records of the three tied teams will be compared within their division. The next is the records of the three teams will be compared against the next highest placed teams. I just don't get it. I need to figure that. Go ahead, say it in my ear.
Why do you need to figure it out? Someone will tell you.
I'm asking.
Yeah. I mean, if it happens, someone will tell you who wins, and then they'll tell us why. I to try and figure it out, I'm going to lose my mind.
Okay.
I mean, listen, head-to-head, but with a three-way tie, that kind of gets...
Well, you could wind up with Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, and Penn State all having 2 losses on that side of the bracket, and all kind of having played a round robin against each other and beaten each other.
Right.
So we got to figure that out, and I'm not going to sidetrack the conversation with this now. I do want to read you this tweet, Mike, because I want to get your perspective on it based upon what Jeff Saturday said in here earlier this morning. Reading with... I don't know what this guy's handle is.
Yeah,
but
don't
whatever.
worry about it. Yeah.
He tweets... Eli Manning has never been a good quarterback. He's had good people around him to make him look better, and now the truth is clear.
I don't think that's true. I think he is a really good quarterback. Do I think he's one of the all-time greats? No, I don't think he's one of the all-time greats. But he does have two Super Bowl wins through, again, a spectacular catch and throw, and he's made hay when it counted. So, no, I don't think he's going to go down. When we start listing greatest quarterbacks of all time, I don't think he's going to be in that conversation.
Is he going to get in the Hall of Fame?
I think he is.
So do I.
I think 2 Super Bowl, wins.
If you we did this before. We did this a few weeks ago. We did his numbers. If you look at his 2 Super Bowl championships plus the number of games that he's won and a bunch of his other statistical accomplishments, it would be jarring if he didn't get into the Super Bowl on the basis of accomplishment.
Yeah, and in this day and age of throwing and what we see completion percentage, remember he came in and that was a big bugaboo with him early. It was his completion percentage was in the 50s. Career-wise, he's 59.8. He is still under 60%. We know he's thrown his share of interceptions as well, 221 total. So, yeah, I do think so. I don't think it's like, this, slam dunk lock, certainly first ballot, do you? I mean...
I don't know if he gets in on the first ballot.
I think a lot may have to do with others around, what that class is, who's in that queue, as they say, in waiting. I think
I don't think he's done yet
that.
either. I mean, I think we're kind of ending him. He's another guy who's been durable and all of that.
I agree. Listen,
he's second act.
He's about to pass his brother in consecutive starts, so he's been incredibly durable. That's why, when everybody says you wonder are they going to move on from him, I think there's part of the Giants that would love to say, okay, let's get all his weapons back. Let's get a running game, and let's see where we can go, because they feel like they have a defense. We'd known that by, yesterday. But, yeah, I don't – of all the people saying, Eli ends up in Jacksonville, I don't think they're moving on from Eli Manning.
I don't know. I don't
think they
I
are.
will be fascinated to see what they decide to do. They have reached a point that is the kind of bad that requires – all kinds of changes. And, I probably, well, you tell me this. If you owned a team, okay, so now you're the owner of the team. You're going to fire your general manager and your coach. Let's just say that you do that. As you are hiring the new one.
Eli's my quarterback.
You're telling them that. You're telling them your job is going to be to build around Eli
Eli's
Manning.
the quarterback of this team.
Do you think that limits the people that you might get?
No, I don't think people are going to go, oh, my God, you're saddling me with Eli Manning?
Well,
I don't think that's going to happen.
But you're building now around a 37. How old is he, 37? You're building around a 37-year-old quarterback.
One thing you're trying to do then, the organization is trying to win right now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a 37-year-old quarterback, so if you say Eli's a quarterback, or at least you hope, then I say to them, okay, you're making him be the quarterback. You want to win now. Give me the resources. Let's pay Odell. Let's not have any more ridiculous with that. They've paid money on the defensive side. Give me the pieces around Eli since we're trying to win now. So I would have no problem with that.
Mike and Mike brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Upgrade to shaving with a fresh blade whenever you want for a fraction of the price. Join DollarShaveClub.com today. Let's go through some of the games we haven't gotten to much today. We've been focused on a few of them quite particularly. Carolina-Atlanta was a very interesting game.
Yep.
First of all, Julio Jones dropped a pass. I never like to say I could have done that.
Unreal.
I can't believe the ball he dropped.
Matt Ryan couldn't have ran out there and placed it in his arms any better than that throw. It was incredible.
On a fourth down play, and in a game they wound up losing by 3. So that's a brutal loss. Now, for the Falcons, if you're looking for a bright spot, they're looking up at New Orleans is 6-2, the Panthers are 6-3, and the Falcons are 4-4. If you're looking for a bright spot, They've only played one divisional game. They've played the entire AFC East.
Right.
Weird scheduling this year. So they still have all these games to come. They still have 2 games with New Orleans to come. They'll still get another shot at Carolina, and that one will be at home. So they still have, and they still get 2 games against the Buccaneers, who right now look just terrible. So I feel like the Falcons still have a chance to play their way back into it. And if Julio catches that ball, I hate to put that on him because he's such a great player. If he catches that ball, you never know the way the rest of that game plays out. They had a good chance to win. I'm
still a little perplexed at their season right now. And again, we keep talking about the Super Bowl loser and then coming back and making the playoffs. But in the last, decade, that's worked out more in the favor of the loser of the Super Bowl. Not so much this year at this point. I'm still trying to figure them out because they have that same offense. I mean, it's not like that thing switched around. They lost Beasley for a while on defense. I get it. But I've been very surprised at this team that is basically the same team and how they've performed this year as compared to last year.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, I am surprised as well. I still... Maybe it's a lack of willingness to believe what your eyes are seeing. I still kind of feel like they have a big second half in them.
Yeah, I think they can. I mean, a lot of people will look right to the fact that Shanahan is gone and Sarkisian is there, that the only difference is the offensive coordinator. But, man, I know there's a relationship there, but this is a veteran team from the important positions for the center in Alex Mack, your quarterback in Matt Ryan, your receivers in Julio Jones. Your dual-headed running back with Freeman and Coleman. I just think you have guys who have been around and know the system and know what they're doing there to sit there and say this is on the relationship of the offensive coordinator and the offense. Now, it has to have something to do with it, but it's still perplexing to me that the guys that went out and executed these plays and were just flat out better than the other teams they played just can't get there at this point this year.
And another one, we really, considering it was the glamour game of the day, we've spent very little time on it, and that is Kansas City-Dallas. I'm very impressed with the Cowboys. Now, this Ezekiel Elliott thing, they're going to have to figure this thing out, right? I mean, at some point, there was the story yesterday, I believe it was Shefty's story, that there are negotiations behind the scenes that try and negotiate some sort of a shorter thing.
And then they try and do that earlier, and the league said no way to that. I mean, well, why all of a sudden are you doing that?
I guess my point is, if he's going to get suspended, now you're working your way into a territory where it could work its way towards the playoffs.
I agree with you, but that's just his lawyer saying that. Why would the NFLPA want to do that? And why would the league want to do that? We went through this with Brady. Wasn't there talk about lessening that? And
well, Brady said he would never do it.
He would never do it in the league. Why would the league do it? Why would you get
get this put away?
Because we're past the point now. Again, it's about procedure. So no one's going to give in here. This one is going to play it out. Only Zeke's lawyer is the one saying, let's work something out. Union doesn't want to. The union's seen a couple of victories. Now, they've seen it before, and then it ends up going the NFL's way, at times, because especially in the case we compare, the Brady case all the time. I don't see Union now it could be up to Zeke. Zeke could walk in and say, I'm sitting. I'm done. But Zeke doesn't sound like he wants to do that either. And I don't see any way the union would want to do that. And I don't see any way the league would want to do that.
Yeah, Zeke sounds like a person who still thinks he's litigating whether he's innocent or guilty.
Exactly.
Which the reality of it is that this fight has nothing whatsoever to do with that between the league and the Players Association. But I'm saying if you're the league, you ask me why would the league do it? With all the stuff going on right now, with all of the negative attention and everything else, do they really need their most glamorous team, who's playing great, to have their arguably best player suspended going into the playoffs? I mean, right now the Cowboys are coming strong. Dallas is 5-3. They're 2-0 in the division. They're sitting with both their games against Philadelphia left. They beat a good Kansas City team yesterday. They have good balance on offense.
They went over a year for Tom Brady.
Yeah, but I feel like the world was in a different place. The league was in a different place then.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
I agree with you. They won't do it.
It's bigger than just saying no, because it's big. Neither side should. The union should want to keep fighting it, and the league should want to keep fighting it. You're past the point of it all. I get what you're saying, but there are things that are bigger than just Zeke or the team making the run to the playoffs that they're fighting for. And people on the outside may not like the fight, and I get it. You may not like the dirty stuff that goes on behind the scenes, but these are things in a CBA that you fight for, that you're now going through the courts to see if they're upheld, or on the union side, if you can knock it down a little bit. It's way bigger. And I get that people hate it, and I get it continues to be a bit of a black eye for the league. I understand that, but it's a fight they have to do. at this point. Maybe this could have been ended a lot earlier, but just like the Brady case, at some point we hit that tipping point where it said, we're too far gone now. Got to play this thing out.
Ryan Clark still to come. Al Michaels still to come. Mike and Mike on a Monday. We'll be right back.
Hey girl, have you done something new with your scales? Using new moisturizer? Nice. It really brings out the hazel in your eyes. Oh, hold on. Are you using whitening strips too? Your fangs look good, girl. Really good.
A really charming snake charmer? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Wait, what? Have you been doing Pilates too?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
You guys are the Kobe and Shaq, the Gretzky and Messier, the Belichick and Brady. It has been an honor to work with you for 18 years. You have made everybody at this network, everybody across the country, grateful to have you listen to your work over all that time. And I am especially thankful for the fact that on my first day at ESPN, when I made my very first appearance on Mike and Mike, Greeny asked me for my nickname. I had none. He put Shefty on me. I had never heard the nickname before. And to this day, when I walk down the halls at ESPN, there are people I've never spoken to in my life who say, hey, Shefty. So I thank you for the nickname. I thank you for all your service. I congratulate you and wish you all the best going forward.
Oh, Shefty.
Shefty.
Nice.
I do remember that. We gave him the name Shefty.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite memories, sometimes in life moments just kind of stick in your head for no obvious reason. When Notre Dame fired Charlie Weiss,
right,
and they were hiring a new coach, you and I were doing the 6 p.m. Sports Center at that time on Mondays. Mm-hmm. So we were in the building all day, and you were working on the story. I don't remember.
I'm sure I was writing like crazy.
No, but you were working on breaking the new coach story.
Right.
And you had some information that it was going to be Brian Kelly. Yeah. And we're sitting on the set, and we're like 2 minutes away from going on the air, and you hung up your cell phone, and you looked at me, and you said, where the hell is Shefty?
Well, it's because here it's like you need two confirmations.
Yeah.
I went to school there. I know everybody there. I had information, and they're like, we need someone else to confirm it. I'm like, why the hell do you need someone else to confirm it? Where the hell is Shefty then?
That's exactly what you said. He just turned to me. I can still picture your face. I don't know why this moment stands out. Where the hell is Shefty? And from that day till this, we have constantly said, where the hell is Shefty? So thank you, Shefty.
Thanks,
that
Shefty.
was very nice.
Sports Center brought to you by Discover. If you're a Discover credit card member, there's an important action you can take right now. Activate Discover's free Social Security alerts online. They'll alert you if your Social Security number is found on any one of thousands of risky websites. Learn more at discover.com/free alerts. Limitations do apply.
Another game we haven't talked as much about this morning as we probably should have is Seattle and Washington.
Yes.
That was a really, really good game.
It absolutely was. And you want to talk about not expecting Washington to go down the field on Seattle. And once Seattle took the lead, that absolutely positively stunned me that they went down the field and scored the way they did. I was amazed. There was a lot of people, saying, do you score right away?
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah, there's no chance on when Doug Baldwin scores, do I say take a knee at the one and burn time. Because you have this game, 17-14 was the final. There was no offensive juggernauting in this game, and the Seattle defense had been hitting Cousins all day. There's no way I'm worrying about, is Kirk Cousins going to go the length of the field on us and score the winning points?
Okay, well, let's just go back. Blair Walsh missed 3 field goals in this game. But what you could do is you could take a knee, you could run the clock down to 2 seconds and kick an 18-yard field goal to win the game. I mean, that was on the list of options. Washington had 1 timeout left. So again, it's a big play. It wasn't like a short little play. So it probably wasn't. It wasn't like they were on the 2-yard line and could have talked about it in the huddle. I'm sure it didn't come up. But for what it's worth, with 1:34 remaining, Baldwin scores a touchdown.
Right.
If he does take the knee on the 1-yard line, they've got Washington has 1 timeout left. They use that. Now you can run the clock down to basically nothing and kick an 18-yard field goal to win the game.
And how'd the kicker do?
Again, he missed 3 field goals earlier in the day. Now, this would have been basically the old extra point.
Would have been a chip shot. I get it. But I have no problem. I have no problem with them betting on their defense. That stunned me. Listen, you got to tip your cap to Washington for what they did. But you asked
how about
me,
Washington scoring? So now with a minute left,
that's the first thing that jumped
Washington is
into
on
my
the
mind.
1 yard line.
Yeah, they are.
They break the big play and they rule it down. And the official, by the way, we always criticize officials. What a good job he did.
No, he did.
Getting into position.
Absolutely right.
So they've got first and goal from the 1. And I'm sitting with my son Stevie, and I said, they should not score on first down.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
They should not score on first down and let the clock run down. But you put yourself in a position. Do you think it's because that defense is so good in Seattle, you worry if you don't score, maybe you don't ever get in?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure Seattle is thinking we're going to have a little goal line stand here, no doubt about it.
Or are you going to let them score and keep yourself the minute left?
I thought that as well. But if you're that defense, I tried to picture our Philadelphia defense in a situation like that, thinking there's no way we're letting anybody score. We've stopped people at the 1 yard line for 7 plays. See the Cardinals, So, and I'm sure that Seattle defense is just as confident in being able to stop you from getting into the end zone.
Yeah, I'm not surprised the game played out the way it did. That neither team did that because teams are loath to do that.
I'm unbelievably surprised Washington went down the field and scored. That stunned me.
But I'm saying I'm not surprised that either team didn't take the knee on the 1 yard line.
Agreed.
But that turned out to be a really good game between two really good defense. Washington, boy, they are a tough team to figure.
They absolutely are. I can't figure them because you expected Terrell Pryor to be the number 1 receiver. That hasn't really panned out. Now you're finding, between Kelly and Thompson at running back, you got a really good offensive line, but you've had some injuries up there. The defense, you got Norman back from his injury. Hopefully you get Allen back up front, as he was nicked up as well. But I'm with you. You can't kind of figure out where do they belong, in the pecking order, sitting there at 500. Certainly Philly's taking way control of that. So I think anybody else, I really think, in my opinion, including Dallas, is playing for the wild card. So that's
I think the Cowboys have a shot to catch them. They still have 2 games.
They do. They have 2 games against them. I think Philly's just playing too good. I think even if they split, I still think Philly's going to be sitting in good position. I think Washington has to completely think about wild card, and obviously they are. But they are a tough team to figure out right now.
And Cousins, I mean, that last drive there did good things for his marketability.
Sure did.
He's a tough guy and he fights and all that. But those little, do you take a knee on the 1 yard line scenarios are fascinating.
Yeah, they are.
And teams very rarely do them, but they're very interesting to think about. Ryan Clark and Al Michaels in our next hour. Mike and Mike.
Computer, execute 12.4p operation.
Optimizing algorithm. Running encryption packet alpha. Night. Oh, I don't feel so good.
What is it, computer?
Is it hot in here? It feels hot in here. I feel a little clammy. I should lie down or something.
A computer with a virus? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Those oysters Rockefeller were a mistake.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.